Very rarely do you find a game that tries to pull something out of its hat that hasn't been done before. Not in terms of story or level of animation, but in all honesty, when was the last time you saw an actual claymation video game? Armikrog, created by Pencil Test Studios and published by Versus Evil, is actually that, a claymation video game. That, in and of itself, is cool. That is also a huge undertaking, regardless of how good the end game is, so props for trying. Beyond that, however, the game will get just as much scrutiny, if not more, because the bar has been raised. And the sad truth is that Armikrog didn't quite live up to its own standards. The story and intro are flat silly, in both a good and bad way. It is a silly story with silly, unbelievable characters that find themselves in a weird and unbelievably silly situation, all of which was obviously created as such. And if you see a connection and theme that seems to scream Earthworm Jim, then you figured out something crucial in who the architect really is. With strange characters and odd slushy sounds, and a unique level and world design, it isn't a surprise that the story and characters are met with completely positive reactions or absolutely negative ones. But we'll get back to the story and world in a moment. Let's talk about the mechanics of the game's core. Games are like birthday parties. Everyone learns why they are there soon after arriving. There are gifts and there will be cake. Most parties have elements that hold to a format that you understand and can follow, and the same is for video games, with some exceptions that have high learning curves. Armikrog doesn't so much have a learning curve or a lack of cake, but more like they are in places you wouldn't think to find them. Example would be the save feature, where most games have it be one of the first things you see when hitting escape or first launching the game. Armikrog has it placed within the options tab. This wouldn't be an issue if you knew to look there, but the menu system is more set up to look like you have to beat the game in a one-shot deal. The game mechanics follow this oddity even more so, causing you to have to click rave to figure out some puzzle because the solution is not where you would expect to find it, and you weren't told the cake would be served in the closet at this party. The puzzles are sometimes too crazy complex, meaning you have to figure out several puzzles after back and forthing through a handful of rooms, and have no real idea why you're going through the rooms in the first place. And in many cases, the puzzle mechanics are unforgiving, and you find yourself spam clicking a given button or section of room, trying to get your cursor on the perfect spot on the screen. In some cases, so unforgiving that unless you know that is the solution for the puzzle, you wouldn't keep trying to solve it. There are also multiple glitches and errors within the game itself, like the fact that you can pick up the baby multiple times and are forced to solve its puzzle after each time you save the baby. Then, the trigger for the baby scene still exists even as you hold the baby right above it. So with the bugs, unforgiving click regions, unconventional layouts, and puzzles that expect you to know the solution, you really need a guide for the game. To the point that as I played the game, I thought I was playing an early access game in beta development, and actually had to stop playing and check the store page to make sure this was a full release. This is very sad because I expected to enjoy something that took such a unique view on gaming, but at the end of my time playing, it felt like the real focus and effort on the game's development side was on the claymation, and everything else was thrown by the wayside. Now here at Indie Game, we give games one of 4 ratings, going from disappointing to enjoyable to good, and ending at recommended. And what should have easily come in with recommended, Armikrog slips by with enjoyable. Thanks for leaving us a like here at Indie Game, and as always, be indie, be free.